What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here with my man Fred from Rane. He's going to break down the new 12 and the 72 for us. We're excited to be here and have him explain it for us. So yeah, let him take it away.
What's going on, guys? All right. First, we'll start with the 72. And the first thing we're going to talk about on the 72, the most important part of any mixer for any scratch DJ is the fader. So we got Rane's brand new Mag 3 faders in this mixer. And what makes the Mag 3 unique from the previous Rane faders is we add the tension adjust. So there's a set screw on the top of the carrier that has a magnet attached to it. And as you loosen and tighten the screw, you can increase and decrease the tension of the fader. The good thing about this is it's contactless. There's no so the magnetic tension will never wear out. So that's a new feature that we added. Also, the carrier, you notice the material is a different color. This material is 160 times stronger than the previous plastic carrier materials. There were some issues with the old carriers where the faders would snap. I've been trying to snap this one for 8 months and it's still in working order. So the carrier material strength has been increased, so you can DJ in confidence, you can beat it up, and it won't break on you. As we move on up, you'll notice a touch. You got a 4.3-inch color touchscreen. So right now with the touchscreen, you have a few different views. Right now we're in the waveform view. Your waveform view, you get your waveform, you get your track overview. You can actually scrub the overview if you want. You get your time, your key, sync, and your BPM information. Another view you have is your effects view. Now in your effects view, you have total control over your Serato effects and your internal flex effects. The top three are your software effects, and the bottom is your internal flex effects. Whoops, I accidentally hit the touch capacitive knob, sorry about that. Maybe you want to edit that one out, but and the bottom is your internal flex effects. Your internal flex effects, what we did on this mixer is we actually gave you two flex effects engines. So you can have separate effects on deck 1 and then an entirely different effect on deck 2. The previous Rane mixers only had one flex effects engine, and that was universal for the whole mixer. On the 72, you have two effects banks, basically. If you want to go into a deep dive menu and edit some of your parameters on your flex effects while you're DJing, just double tap that. Say you wanted to add a little bit of high pass cutoff, maybe a little bit more depth on your echo, and you're good to go. Double tap will take you back to the original screen. And to trigger the effects, you'll notice these die-cast aluminum paddles. Now the paddles, they feel nice and solid. They come from the factory, and the latching position will be in the up position, and down is momentary. If you wanted to, you can rotate the paddle 180 degrees. So if you prefer to have it latch in the down position, all you need to do is remove this panel by removing these two Phillips head screws, and then you can rotate the paddles 180 degrees and reposition them to your liking. So you can latch in the up or the down position. Now we'll talk about the pads. You got the genuine Akai MPC pads. Obviously not the same size as MPC. They're scaled down for this mixer, but they are genuine Akai pads. You have all your traditional pad modes that you would expect with a Serato DJ controller. You have your hot cues, your loops, your rolls, your samplers, your slicers. Included with this is pitch play, which is one of the most popular pad modes out right now. So when you get the 72, you get an activation card in the box with an activation code for pitch and time. So you need to activate pitch and time in order to access the pitch play menu. Okay, another new mode we have is pad effects. So on your pad effects, you have your break, your backspin, your gate, and your echo. So to activate a pad effect, you would just simply play your track, hit your pad, and then you can just echo out. So you have different time divisions. Your earlier pads are your fast time divisions, and then as you go down, you get a longer delay. Another new pad mode we have what's called the fader effect. So what this does is it emulates fader movement. So it's basically just like a and it just emulates like different fader movements. Now the fader effects they're tied into your tempo. So if your tempo is not accurate with your fader effects, they may sound a little off. So you may need to just tap your tempo in and get it to where you want it to be to get the desired sound. One other new pad mode that we introduced here is transport mode. How many times have you gotten to a party, you break a needle, you get to a party or a club, and hey, they don't have turntables, but you're already there. So with this, you can actually DJ the night, and it'll get you out of a jam. You got your pitch bends, pitch bend up, pitch bend down, pitch up, pitch down, key lock and sync on and off, and then you can actually start and stop the track just from the transport mode. So that's like an emergency mode, or if you got a small party, you're gonna go DJ your nephew's party and you don't want to bring everything out just to play music, transport mode might be good for you. On the mic side of things, you got two XLR combo jacks on the back, mic line switches. Mic 1 input is up here at the top. So you got your volume, your tone, on and off, and your echo control. There's an echo knob on the front of the mixer that is dedicated for the mic 1. If you want to use a duck, we have an auto duck feature, which will basically drop the decibel level in the audio while you're talking, and then it brings the audio back up a second after you stop talking. So no need to ride the fader. You can just leave it in auto duck, and to turn that off, just hit the button again. You have your session in and your session output, which is basically your auxiliary in, auxiliary outputs. So if you want to daisy chain your mixers, and you can get that going. You can also cue your session in. So if you want to preview what's coming in before it goes live, there's a cue button right here. This is your sampler volume and sampler filter. And you can also route your effects to the sampler. So for your effects routing, you have channel 1, channel 2, and sampler. So if you wanted to have the effects route through the sampler when you hit the paddle, you can route your channel, your effects through that as well. Now on the front of the unit, it's your pretty standard setup. You have your contour adjustments for your faders, your up faders, cross faders, your hamster switches on the bottom. You have the deck swap right here. What deck swap would do is it'll reverse just the channel 1 and 2 up faders. So if you have that engaged, those would be reversed. 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch headphone jack, and you have a provision for a foot switch. The foot switch can be MIDI assignable, or you can use it to trigger one of the effects banks. And that wraps it up for the 72, and we'll move on over to the 12. Rane 12 is built like a tank, steel on steel construction, all stamped steel. The weight of the unit is 20.5 pounds, which is 5 pounds lighter than a Technique 1200. So the idea behind the 12 was basically to eliminate all of the problems that come with the tone arm and your turntables. You know, you have bad RCA wires, you have a bad tone arm, they don't balance correctly, you break a needle, worn out records, so many issues. Feedback from the bass when you're on a large stage or a bass heavy club. So the 12 eliminates all of those problems, and it gives you the same feel and familiar layout as your traditional turntable. So you have your 12-inch motorized platter. Up here is what would essentially replace the needle or your tone arm. This is your strip search. So what this does is it gives you the indicator of where you're playing, and it also allows you to navigate through the track. And the white LEDs are basically your track position. So that'll kind of tell you where you are in the track. So another thing you have is so this is your strip search, and the secondary function is hot cues. So you can actually trigger your cue points from here. You can also set a cue point. So to set a cue point, all you have to do is just simply touch one of the squares, and then your cue point is active. If you want to delete the cue point, you hold that down, and then you can also delete the cue points as well. This right here is your deck select buttons. So with the deck select buttons, you can use up to 4 12s on any 4-channel Serato supported mixer. So if you're on a 2-channel mixer, you're only limited to 2 12s, but if you have a 4-channel mixer, say for example, if you have like the Denon X1800 or the Rane MP 2015 with the club kit, you can rock 4 12s at once. Or you could just do what some people do, just rock 1 12, and then you can deck layer and go back and forth. You have your standard pitch slider right here with a center detent. Your pitch ranges, you got 8, 16, and 50. So if you want to get down and dirty, you can just go right down to 50, and it sounds really well. You have your 33 and 45 RPM buttons, start and stop. And when you get to the end of the track, the stop button will actually turn red to kind of give you like a little warning that, hey, your song's going to end in 15 seconds, and just a way to get your attention. And one other thing you may notice is if you kill the power to the unit, you can actually do a wind down and still have control, still have your MIDI control, and not lose any of that functionality. Okay, on the back of the unit, you have your IEC power cable. This is the main power switch that'll kill power to the entire unit. And then you have your high and low torque settings. So the low torque motor setting will resemble a Technique 1200. The high torque setting is more grippy and has a little bit more force at 5 CFM. So you can, some scratch DJs prefer the low setting, while guys that like to beat juggle prefer the high setting. You have your USB connection. This is how you would connect the 12 to your computer or your USB hub. Now, one thing to note is on the back of the Rane 72, we actually provide 2 USB hubs for the 12. So in a situation where if you have the 12 with any standard mixer or any competitive mixer, and you have say a MacBook Pro, most MacBook Pros only have 2 USB ports on them. So you'll need to use a hub if you have 1 USB port for your mixer, 1 for the 12, and then your other 12 you don't have enough USB ports. So in that case, you would need a hub. We've tested with both non-powered and powered hubs, and we haven't noticed any issues at all. So make sure you use a high-quality USB hub if you need to use one on your setup. And I'm Fred from Rane, and that's all we got. Sorry, man. I'm trying not to cough. I'll give you the I'll give you the elbow. But dude, I gotta give you high respect, man. I mean, your skills are crazy.
Oh man, thank you very much.